What's up guys, today we're going to show you how you can use Faceapp to make your photos look better for dating apps. We're going to do a live tutorial so you guys have all the tricks and the results may surprise you. So first off, let's quickly go over why you should be using Faceapp, because a lot of guys are squeamish about this. It's no secret that women have been using Faceapp, Photoshop, filters, and everything else under the sun to enhance their photos for ages. It's time that men start playing the same game. Here's an analogy to drive this point home. Let's say you're a guy who's 5'10", 5'11", and you're probably going to say you're 6 feet in your Tinder bio, because if you're a guy who's 5'10", and you say you're 5'10", the girl's going to think you're 5'8", 5'9", because she expects you to exaggerate by an inch or two. It's the same thing with photos, right? The girl expects you to look better in your photos by a little bit than you do in real life. The problem is most guys look worse in their photos than they do in real life. And Faceapp is going to be how you're going to fix that. And in order to really put you guys at ease, I can tell you this. I have Faceapped all my Tinder photos, all my Bumble photos. I have never once had an issue with any of the girls I met up with, and neither has any of my friends or any of my clients. All right, so now the way, let's jump right into it. And make sure you guys watch until the very end, because we're going to take some of those popular YouTubers in the manosphere and we're going to Faceapp them, make them look better. Trust me, you guys don't want to miss this. Let's start off with me. So here's an older photo of me. This was taken about a year and a half ago when I got my last tattoo, right? So this is just a mirror selfie. I want to take a photo that none of you guys had seen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into presets, right? And we're going to go to the handsome preset. So this is the one I always use. Now here's where you can pick how far you want to go. So here's number 4, which, you know, is definitely a big stretch, right? I think this would be like really playing with fire if I pick this. 1 is like the least extreme, which I think is good. 2 is a little bit more extreme, and so on. So I would probably, for this one, either stick between 1 and 2. I think 1 is probably the best option if I want to just play it safe, or if I want to be a little more risque, I would go with 2. We apply that, then we go under smiles. And literally, we're just going to be adjusting 2 things. We're just going to be adjusting the preset and the smile. Everything else is completely unnecessary. So I want to give myself a badass smirk. So we're going to go into here. We don't want to overdo it. Let's try 2. Okay, this is pretty good. Let's try 3. 3 is fine. Then the other one I might use is tight. No, that's overkill, right? So we're going to keep it probably on 2. It's a slight difference, but again, this may seem very subtle, but it's important. This is a difference between me looking like I'm trying to pose, right? I'm like, take the picture, mom, and me looking very natural and like I'm just having a good time, right? It seems very subtle, but it makes a big difference in your sub-communication. Apply that, and bam, I just made myself look, you know, significantly better by a point, 1.5 points. All right, next let's move on to a photo, which is gonna have the opposite effect. It's gonna be a photo that that's not congruent with Faceapp, because not every photo is gonna work well with Faceapp. So here's another good photo of me. This is something you've seen in my Instagram, you've seen in my videos, right? A popular photo. Let's try to do the same thing we did with the previous photo. So we're gonna do the handsome preset. And look, for some reason, nothing is happening, right? Because again, Faceapp uses artificial intelligence, and AI isn't perfect, doesn't work well with everything. So as you can see, there's really not much difference here between 1 and 4. Now let's try to do something with the smile. So let's take, I don't know, whatever the same thing we did in the last one. Let's give myself a smirk. Yeah. You guys can see this complete butchers it, right? So this actually made the photo significantly worse, because this looks like clearly like it was messed up by like some 5th grade art student, right? So this is pretty bad, right? So again, Faceapp is not going to work with every single photo, which is where trial and error comes in. You just have to take a bunch of photos, run them through Faceapp, and see which ones work and which ones don't, right? I think the reason this one doesn't work is because the angle is a little weird. So I've noticed that Faceapp works better for more head-on photos or side angles, but when you're like completely the other way, Faceapp can really be hit or miss. Now let's take a look at Indian P for all the Indian people who are watching this video, right? So again, this is a decent photo, right? But he looks a little too posed, he looks a little too serious. The sun isn't hitting his face well, so we're gonna try to see what we can do with it. So let's go to 4. So as you can see with him, 4 actually looks realistic, right? So it really depends on the photo and on the person, how far you can go, which setting you should pick. Again, trial and error. Another setting I sometimes like to use is star. So star is basically handsome on steroids, but sometimes it is overkill. Actually, quite often it's overkill. So let's see how it looks. It actually could potentially work with him, but I would probably stick to handsome, although they both actually work. There's not a big difference. Again, star is a more enhanced version of handsome, so we can keep star, right, apply that. Let's give him a better smile, because right now his facial expression looks a little weird. And I'm only ever going to be using either closed or the tight function. Sometimes you can try classic, but it typically doesn't come out good. I typically think it looks kind of dorky. So what we want to do is give him a grin, right? I think a grin is the best type of look. So let's see. Let's play with this a little bit. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Let's go to 5. I think 5 might be overkill. Let's go to 4. Let's try tight, and let's see if tight looks better. Actually, that looks pretty good, right? It looks like he has a badass grin. He looks better. Bam. Although you could make an argument for why closed is better. I'm kind of torn between those two. You might have to like do both of them and then split test them and send them to girls. But I think this is fine for this experiment. So we're going to apply it and save it. Bam. We just made Indian P look at least 1.5 points better, which is exactly what we're trying to do. Now let's move on to another photo of him, right? So this is interesting because now you're going to see the limitations of Faceapp. So this is, again, a different angle. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to handsome. Right? But there's not a big difference for some reason with this photo when we hit handsome, right? So it's just not really doing much, right? Again, I think this has to do with the angle. Faceapp does not work well with every photo. Now for him, it seems to be helping a little bit, right? So Faceapp can help you 100%, 50%, 20%, 0%. It just depends on the photo, right? And again, I think this comes down to the angle. I just think Faceapp works better when, you know, you're either looking at the camera, like you're 45, but when you're like kind of like this, like when you're like 90 degrees, I think it sometimes doesn't look good. But this is okay. This is not terrible, but it wasn't terribly helped by Faceapp. Now let's move on to some other YouTubers. So let's start off with our Black Pill Pro wheat waffles, right? So this is an okay photo, right? But it's definitely not one I would ever use on a dating app. Let's see if we can make it dating app friendly. So we're gonna do the same thing we've been doing. We're gonna go under handsome. Let's see, let's make wheat waffles look handsome. So let's try 4. I think that's a little too extreme, right? We made him a little too perfect, so we're gonna dial it back a little bit. Let's go to 3. That's perfect. All right, we're gonna apply that. And I don't really like his facial expression because he looks like he's just, I don't know, kind of like he has an awkward smile. So let's give him a badass grin. So we're gonna do this. Okay, this is a little better. Let's jump it up to 5. No, I don't like that. Let's go to tight. That is actually pretty cool. Look at that. That is so much better. He has a badass grin. He looks confident. He looks good. This is a good photo. So you're welcome, wheat waffles. I just black pilled you even further. Okay, let's move on to our man, Rolo Tomasi. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna presets. We're gonna hit 4. Okay, that's a little bit overkill. We're gonna go to 3, apply. Then we're gonna give him a grin. Again, same thing we've been doing this whole time. Give him a little bit of a grin. That doesn't look good. Okay, this is a little bit better. Okay, yeah, there we go. We made him look maybe 5 years younger. I'll take it, right? Again, this wasn't substantially improved, but this was improved by, I would say, 20-25%. Let's now move on to our next person, which is a face only a mother could love, Fresh Prince CEO, right? So this photo, yeah, like you just cannot use this on the dating app. Like this is gonna turn off every girl, but I think we can change that with Faceapp. So let's go to 3. So this is so much better. As you can see, sometimes the AI works a lot better for certain people and certain photos. If we go to 4, it actually looks pretty damn good, although I would say this is a little bit overkill, a little too perfect. So we're gonna keep it at 3. Then we're gonna give him a pretty cool grin. Let's go here and let's see how he looks with a smirk. Bam, this is perfect. Apply, save, you're welcome, Fresh. Let's move on to the next person, our last person. So I want to do something that's the opposite, someone who's the opposite of Fresh, someone who's naturally good looking, Austin Dunham, right? So clearly you can see this guy is kind of a Chad, but let's see if we can make a Chad a Giga Chad. So we're going to go to presets, go into handsome. Let's see how far we can push it. You know, I think you can get away with doing 4. Again, with him, it works well. Let's see if he can pull off star. I think star might be overkill, although I think he can probably get away with it. I think handsome is better at 4. We apply that. Let's go to smiles. Again, right now, he looks a little too serious. He looks like he's kind of constipated. So let's see if we can give him a better smile. Okay, this is better. Let's see, how far do we want to go? I think somewhere between 3 and 4 is going to be the right amount. 5 would be too much. Yeah, that's too much. He looks a little kind of gay now. So either 3, I think, or 4. I think 4 is good. He looks a lot more friendly, right? He looks like he's more confident. This is good. Bam, we turned a Chad into Giga Chad. So yeah, you can see that Faceapp is actually really straightforward and simple if you know what you're doing. And again, if you're not gonna be using Faceapp, you're gonna be a disadvantage to someone else who is. The dating marketplace is extremely competitive. Girls are getting tons of matches, so it's important to stand out. And this is a really good way you can do that. All right, hopefully you guys found this video valuable. Show us some love by smashing the like button, hit subscribe, click the bell for notification, and share this video with a friend or two who really needs this type of guidance. Also, make sure you guys check out our brand new PWF Clips channel. We're taking all the best parts from debates, arguments, podcasts, putting them on there. So make sure you check that out. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.